There we go. Why don't... Okay, here we go. There it is. Now we're okay. Alright. Took a minute. Let's try this again. Getting some video quirks popping up on YouTube Studio. I'm trying to isolate and hopefully correct. So that should at least get us going. I'll move over here so I can see chat, or should be able to see chat anyways. Up a little bit. I can actually make this a tad bigger. Alright, that should at least help. Alright, knock that off. These were my fronts. I'll know in a minute. These are the backs, I think. Pull one out and check. So, anybody just catching this, I did part 1 yesterday, and yeah, those other beers. Did part 1 yesterday, and doing part 2 because it was getting late and 1:30, and I was like, I'm beat. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and pull out our cap springs. So what we got going on is, as it says in the title a little bit, and in yesterday's video, I picked up these different shocks, and they didn't label a brand on them, but they're RC all-wheel drive shocks, not RC four-wheel drive, RC all-wheel drive, and pretty much the China company either knocking off RC four-wheel drive, or they make the stuff for RC four-wheel drive. But this is their own version of a shock. This is a 70-75 body, 60-61 everywhere else. It comes with springs, a center collar, a machined, 60-61 bottom cap, and shock retainer. Problem is the bottom cap and shock retainer, it's got a recessed piece, but they don't slide together. They just right on top of each other. They got a mismatch there. So needed to do something to fix that, and I'm going to use these Treal shock retainers that I've got here. Problem is, these shock shafts are 3.5 millimeters, and the Treals and the stock shock shafts are 3 millimeters. So I got to open this piece up here a little bit, and I'm just going to drill out the center just a little bit, and then turn around and that's too small. Probably going to be too small. That's probably going to be too small. I have to go grab a bit. I don't have a round file, or nice round small straight file, or I just use that. Oh, you know what I do have though? It might work a little bit better. That little bit of work. Some straight Dremel ends. Let's see what we've got. One of the bigger ones is a little more aggressive here. That's the one. That's the ticket. So I think I could use this. It's the wrong size though. Need the other collar. Okay, now we'll go ahead and a little shaving in here. Lose a little bit of weight, but that's alright. That's pretty close. Okay, clean that out. And let's see how we end up here. Providing that's okay. These are going to be a little short because these shocks are 112 millimeters eye to eye. So I'm not going to go there. I'm sorry, end to end, 102 millimeters basically eye to eye. So a little longer than stock shocks. Stock shocks are, I'm sorry, are 100 millimeters, maybe 102, but they're basically 90 millimeter eye to eye stock shock area. So we've done well. That's good. That's it won't pop up either. Right on. So let's get this one ready. Might have to get new ends at some point. But yeah, I guess that's, you could take the stock end. It's kind of a fat, short deal, and you could whittle it all down to fit inside the stock cap that came with it. But I had these Treals. I wanted to use them. Just to add the extra weight, because the 100, I didn't want to raise anything. 102 millimeters would have raised me up, about 10 millimeters, and it's high enough off the ground. So I don't want to raise my, it actually works out pretty darn great. Don't want to raise my center of gravity. Oh, well, I might have to take those things out. I'll see if they wear in. I can always put a little extra tension on there. What I got going on is those bumpers I made. They're kind of thin or wide, and they kind of push on the sides, and they're kind of stopping. I may have to take those out, but they may wear a little bit better here in a bit. I'm going to keep this enough to keep it. Because they do kind of pinch up. I got to get them in the right position, basically. That worked out pretty good. And we'll see how that does. So I may end up having to take these back shocks off and take those bumps out and probably go to a spring mod. And I kind of thought about that last night instead, because the spring mod under the piston wouldn't be sticky like these are, and it would actually take up a little more of the ride. I've got some springs around already. I think they're in my other, one of my other bags over here with my shock stuff or other ends. But I got these done. The fronts work really nicely. I just wanted to kind of stop the travel a little bit. So I'll give these a try, and if they are too sticky, I'll have to pull the shocks off and pull them, but the backs are easier to get off than the front. Come on, get out of there. And see how that works. So this won't go in there yet, right? Because I really don't think I needed that much taken off. Not quite. So now these do drop down to a 3mm thread on the end of the shaft, so that's no issue. Any normal end will work. But the shafts themselves are a 3.5mm. So hopefully they'll be a little bit stronger. One of my stock shocks did bend on a full extension, basically. Let's see how we're doing here. This one does move a lot smoother than that one. Let's sort this out all the way though. Okay, I think we're gonna give that a shot. Now, because the stock shocks, where are my stock shocks? Where did I put them? Somewhere. Okay. Alright, put them in a bag. It was late last night and I was getting tired. Now we're getting tired. Well.
Are you making a video?
Yep. Yep, making a repair video.
It's too bad they can't see your cat in the background.
Yeah, I can sometimes when she comes in and steals my chair. As she so lovingly does. Alright, where in the hell did I do with those?
They're around.
Slow down.
I know.
You're smoking twice as fast as I am, for sure. Yeah, then you run right up, try going half cigarette. It's a bitch, but 2 packs a day ain't good for you, dear. Alright, so that's right. I don't know if those will work. I guess we can try them. I don't know I'm gonna get these balls out of these that easily. Or if those ones go back in. Oh, I see. Yeah, there's an insert in there. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to piss with that. So, we'll leave that. We'll have to get the, little spacers in here out. They come with a fair number of spacers here to get to the same distance. So one of those looks like it's pretty good. So just one of these single wide black spacers. Each set of shocks gives you 4, although I only got 3 of the really thin ones. That's no biggie. Okay. Let's see, they give us new screws, so we may as well use those. Okay. Flip you over real quick. Okay, go ahead and put these in the same middle top holes. These can go there. Works. Okay, that one goes well. Wrong one now. You go there, you go there, you go there, and you go here. Okay. Yeah, don't like those ones there. They're not long enough, really, in my opinion, for the top. Okay. And okay. Boy. Actually, may need to go back to the stock spring setup. This sucker sure ain't pushing her back up that well. I'm going to have to really crank these springs down. Not liking that at all. Because with the stock springs, at least they had more tension. That may actually be needed. And crank these puppies down and see. Yeah, if I put the original two-piece double springs on, it would actually probably do a little better. Pushing back up, not as high as it should, but at least it's starting to push up. And like I say, I may end up having to take these rear shocks off and redo them. Front shocks hopefully work a little bit smoother. Better. Should. Anywho, so let me see any other two spacers. Let's see how close those really are. They look like they're a little thinner than these actually. Just a smidge. Half a millimeter or so. Not so bad. These 4 long bolts out of this bag. I thought these spacers I'd be able to use as internal limiters, you know, hard limiters, but they're only 3 millimeters, so they're made for the deal. They won't go on the shock shaft. Of course, you could always drill them out just a smidge and make them fit on the shock shaft. I think an internal spring mod, I used some bumpers that I had here. They're actually grommets for a servo mount that I trimmed down a lot. Nice rubber grommets I really trimmed down to get them in the shocks. These are a thinner shock body. Okay. Oh no, I can't use those. That's right. 2 of these got to go back in because 2 of them actually are Allen bolts. So, third. Get. Whoopsie. Dropped it. Pardon. Damn. Okay. Go. A little load. That's the only way. I can always try to set those are all evenly spaced. So move these to the back. I think I'll leave them up in the center here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, pretty good, a little slow. I may actually have to go to a little thinner, but this 37.5 may be okay. Say maybe a smidge slow, but I think it's going to be alright. I would believe. Okay. Now I need my set screws. Okay. Ooh. Okay. One's still in there. Good deal. So let me take this one, slide it up in here. That screw on the bottom. Okay. Bottom. And leave it on the bottom. Okay, you guys get a better look at his side. Can't do much more in zoom in 16:9. Okay. So, just gotta get that worked in. And it's a bit of a spot right there underneath the top of the chub finger for the knuckle. Okay. You gotta go in there. Flanged bushing. Inserts from the inside, not the top or the bottom, but from the inside of the chub, pushing upward or downward for your knuckle insert. So if some of you guys are having some problems with some slop around your knuckles, and you got these, nice Treal units, that is why. You actually have to put your, your T-brace bushings. Some people call them top hat bushings, whatever, but it's just a flanged bushing. You gotta put that in there from the inside of the chub, and that actually takes up that little bit of gap that is in there. And then we got to get this axle to drop into place. Okay. There. Okay, bottom. Hand. So yeah, I may end up having to pop these back off to redo the springs. We'll need some tightening though. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to redo these springs right off the bat. I may not even go too far and just finish up what I'm gonna do and then stop the end of it and then swap these things back out. It's just a matter of unassembling the bottoms and taking the cast back off. But I wanted to kind of drop the height a little bit, but this thing's kind of a pig enough, it might not be that big of a deal. trying to push it back up. It's pretty heavy in the front. May have to go to a bit lighter, 27, maybe even 22, maybe even down to 15 in front. Because she's maybe too thick at 37.5. But I'll do the springs first, because that will be the easiest thing to deal with. It's pushing it back down. It's just not weighty enough to push the body back up. Trying to do some work on my 1-to-1 trot. I think I got a weak fuel pump. I swapped it out with a cheapie knockoff aftermarket one here 5 years ago or so, and it's getting weak. But it might be the fuel filter, because it's the original. It's a 97, 98 model, but bought late 97. Went to change the fuel pump, and my damn line's leaking now, so I'm got a tub underneath it capturing my dripping gas. Probably have to go out there and just split that line and deal with that thing too. Let's see what we got. Boy, they just made me way too much right off the get-go, I think. Now that I'm seeing how these are kind of functioning, maybe I'll take those bumps out of the shocks. And I can do that without actually having to dump oil if I don't need to, because I do have E-clips on the top. But I'll probably just easier to take them all apart, because I think I'm going to end up having to go to 15 weight or so in the front. I may actually just put some actual 15 weight fork oil, motorcycle fork oil, or mountain bike fork oil in there, whatever you want to use. Either one of those work great. Actual fluid created for suspensions. Go ahead and bottom these things right out. See how it is. But she might not be too bad. I doubt it. We'll see. Let's shut these right at the bottom. And they're pushing her out. Well, it ain't doing crap to push the body up. Well, there it is a little bit. I'm starting to push it back up. Yeah, I think I can do the double stock springs. They're a little bit stiffer anyways. I think I do that out front and back. Just the springs itself will make a difference, because those ones are a little short for this shock.
I don't think they realized I was out there. Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably come out there and try to do something here in a little bit. Just in case. I know it's going to rain again the next day or so. It said there's supposed to be a couple days of it, so. Alright, well, that's not that great. I might have to redo those. Put those other spring systems back on, the stockers. I thought they were going to be way too stiff, but obviously not. So let me go ahead and pop the bottoms, or the backs, because I can do those one at a time relatively easy. And we'll get that done right now. They are a little thinner than these springs. Hopefully I don't have too big of an issue with them working on the Treal caps, or else I'm going to have to spend all the time going through that thing to Okay, before I do anything else, let me take those adjusters back all the way to the top of the cap. Maybe I should. Maybe I should comment. I'm referring to putting the bottom caps on, but I'm going to have to redo them a little bit so they flush in together. Not everything is open and plug and play. Some things require, even if they're supposed to be open the package and plug and play, some things require a little more to get it done. So let me show you here what's going on. This is the bottom shock collar for those RC all-wheel drive. You can see the inset here. And then the piece is supposed to go in, but it doesn't. I don't know if they've got too thick of anodizing, not enough tolerance, but I'm going to say it's not enough tolerance. So this piece, or this inside lip on this, has to be trimmed down so they actually set in and the shock collar doesn't bounce around. Could probably just fit this up in a drill, put it in a bolt or whatever, a Allen head, whatever, and spin it around on a file and just file that down a little bit, maybe even a sanding drum. Maybe that's what I'll try. Because I don't know how these springs, you know, they're going to sit right on top, and they're not really going to lock in place either. Of course, I could always just widen out that bottom spring perch a little bit. These are all the same top bottom. 5 combs. Yeah. Yep, same spring, just split up. Okay. Okay. This back in. So yeah, I gotta get to go out, get to finish playing with this, and get to go out and play with my fuel system. The truck's not been wanting to start very much, so it's either the pump or the fuel filter most likely. Because as soon as I put a little bit of ether in there, fire dry up and stayed running. So that tells you that my fuel filter is either plugged and not letting enough gas flow through, or more likely that cheap ass gas pump I bought in the tank is shitting out on me. And it's time for another fuel pump. Lady and those damn birds. Damn ducks got her feeling guilty over shit. Go ahead and slide those back into this then. Try that. Well, it's just going back up and without any kind of adjustments. Yep, I'll have to do that to the front. So I'll do that one on the fronts a little bit later. And we'll actually, other than that, in the front bumper, which I'll do that a little bit later too. Shoe glue this stuff out and cover it with some color and get it blocked out. But this upgrades, I think, I'd say I'm gonna probably go to this pen spring mod, get that done, get rid of these internal bumps that I use, limiters, and use the pen spring. I should have went there in the first place, but I didn't. So I'll do that, because then that'll take care of that problem, because as you can tell, the back wasn't doing anything on it, almost full adjust. At least now it is. Of course, these ain't quite setting right on those perches, but I'm not too concerned about that part. That will survive. I'll clean that up. Need a new piece of double-sided tape. But yeah, you can see, you know, it's just kind of sticking where it was, because the front is not doing it. So I'll get those front ones done, taken apart, done up, flopped over, and that will take care of that. And then still got to get a different, longer Allen bolt in there. Not a long one. I'll put a longer one in so I can use this adjustment. We're close. These are SSD titaniums. They're 5mm, not 6. So there is that issue. But they're titanium, so they're going to be stronger than the aluminum and pretty much maybe the same weight, a little bit heavier, not much. But they'll be stronger. But the main thing is with these and this bent, specifically this bent front, steering drag link, this S-bend link here, looking at the camera and not the rig. This unit, along with this Treal servo saver, which you see the horn sits way off the servo. I can put my finger underneath, basically damn near the servo horn top, at least my pinky, in the bottom of the horn. Well, that drops down the link angle a little bit, and you want to get your pan hard and your strag bar the same angles. Well, you can see actually, even though it's offset a bit and they're not quite the same, that actually took care of the steering angle. That's the problem. The problem with the steering stuff. You can see there's just a little bit at full extension. Let me grab here. If you look, see, when she goes to the right side, there's like nothing. You can compress the entire right side. When you go to the left side, there's nothing. Well, you get just a little bit. See, if you can watch the steering servo horn, you'll see that horn move just a smidge as you move the left side. I mean, I don't even think there's a 1/2 millimeter there of bump steer. On the right side, nothing. But on the left, just a little bit. And then when you do both, you get pretty much still nothing. So that's pretty much corrected the entire steering angle. So that's a big plus. Now this is hanging a little lower. I'm debating. May not be bad. I may try to move this back up front. Take a look, but I think that's going to reintroduce some bump steer. So I'll have to double check that. But I think I'm going to go ahead and shoot out this video. We've been on it for about an hour now. Give or take. I don't know if it actually tells me on that. It doesn't on my stream. It doesn't give me any kind of tick counter. I thought I did. Oh, right there, 108. Okay. There it is down at the bottom. Yep, been up for an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and call it that. I'm going to flop these springs around up front and get that done. I may readjust my arm. But yeah, with these SSD links, I get a longer one here. I can get a little bit more adjustment, better adjustment, so I can get like my correct toe, toe in or toe out, you know, settings on this. I may move this a little bit. I don't know if that will change much, but I may try this a little geometry and just to see what it does. But those pieces, this Treal, this is for this Losi LMT, so it's the Treal servo saver for the Losi LMT, SSD bent link with the SSD links, and then the SSD crossbar. These are for the Trail King or the SEX102 kits. That's what this SSD links are for. With some longer, I've got a longer link here, and I'm waiting for some offset links. You really don't even need the offsets now. But this is plenty. You can turn and still have a good gap, you know, in front of your thing. And I'm deadening out on the turning radius and not hitting the link like I was with the stock unit. It didn't have enough bend, and you couldn't really put enough bend in it. But these things, as you can see, like I say, it pretty much took care of everything except that little bit of bump steer right there. You can see just that little bit, and that's it. And she goes up and down both sides fine, but when you do just that side, you get just that bump steer because the panhard is pushing the axle over a tad, and then that's causing it to turn. Yeah. That's created a little suction on that side too. Yep, spring mud. I'm going to have to go through the shocks. Take the little rubber boot you see me stick in there, the servo bumper mount piece. Trim those out. I'm going to take those back out. Put spring mods in there. I've got a set already made up. Throw those in. Put the regular shocks back on the front, leaving the Treal lower caps. And we'll go from there. So, alright, man. I want to thank everybody for hanging around. Chilling out with me for an hour while I piss around with this. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Oh yeah, don't forget, hit that like, share, and subscribe. And when you hit the subscribe, choose that notification bell and choose all notifications. Gotta do that for everybody to subscribe to, or else you won't get any notifications. Thanks. Bye.